Hi everybody, it's Janet with Fruit of Vine Art Studio here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Thank you so much for joining me here this evening. I appreciate you being here, and I'd love it if when you pop on, if you'd say hey and tell me where you're watching from. It's a lot of fun figuring out who's watching from where and where everybody else lives. I'm right here in Cincinnati, Ohio, as I said. Now tonight I've got something that I just kind of came up with on the fly. I call it the magic hat. And I've kind of got it drawn on here, but it's just sort of like dotted lines. So I haven't got it really drawn dark on there. I'm going to tilt you down and we're going to get started. I've got some of the paint already on my palette. Let me zoom you in here. Put you right over there. Okay. I've already got some of the paints on my palette. I'm going to be using some orange, some black, some bright blue, and some white. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the bright blue. And I'm going to start that by just bringing it right in here. I'm also going to use a little gold. I forgot to mention that. I got to get that out, don't I? I'm going to bring a little bright blue right along in through here. And I'm not too worried about which directions my strokes are going. Doesn't matter much there. Just want to fill it in with the blue. Let me get a little bit more. Now his nose is right there, and his glove goes right around here. Don't want it to look too thin either. But it doesn't need to be thick at all. I want to be able to see through it, obviously, because I've got my lines drawn in there. I'm just going to bring this right down through here. I'm not too worried about that. That's the hat brim. I'm going to be making his hat black. Just going to continue with the bright blue right in through here. Across the top of his nose. Where is that gold? I'm thinking about it. That's brown. Here we go. I want to get it out so I don't forget it. Because I'll just get to painting and talking and not even be thinking about what I'm doing and completely forget that I want to use the gold in here. Okay, now we're just going to fill this in with the blue. Right down the side of the hat. And then I'm going to touch just the smallest amount of the black and kind of pat that off a little bit. And I'm just going to add some black right along the top here. Along this side. And I'm going to wipe that off on my paper towel. Get me a little more blue, and I'm going to work these together right here. Just to darken it up a little bit in the background in this area. It is nighttime. We want it to be a brighter blue near him, but we also want it to be darker. Okay. About like that. It doesn't have to be perfectly blended. We're not worried about that either. Like that to look a little better right there. Maybe just bring that on over. Just making real quick little X-type shapes, if you can kind of see what I'm doing there. Just real quick, wild X, making an X shape, so to speak there, just kind of pushing it in. And I'm just going to bring some of them down in here. Just a little bit. Get a little more blue for that right there. Just a little bit right there. And I'm going to wipe this off and give it... Ooh! I almost stuck that in my juice. Better get my water glass over here. Jeez, oh Pete's. That just barely stopped me. And I'd have been drinking some good old acrylics. Yeah. Here's my juice glass. And my dirty water glass. Can be hard to tell them apart. I better put my juice over here. Keep them totally separated on this table, and that might help me some. Some. Maybe. Maybe. Got myself about to have an attack here from where I thought I'd put that in my juice cup. Yeah, believe you me, it wouldn't be the first time I've drank with some paint. Wouldn't be the first time. And you know what? Most likely won't be the last either. Okay, we're just gonna add a little more bright blue right in here. Okay. Now you can kind of see the outlines of it better. I'm gonna... Where's my juice? It's over here. I'm scaring myself, guys. I'm scaring myself. Get some of the white and put it on here. And let some of the blue that's already mixing in my brush just sort of work its way right into it. And I want that same coloring to be right here on the face. Maybe not quite as much up at the top, but more down along the bottom of his face and underneath his nose area. And then we'll get a little more white. Ooh, I hear Coco outside. Do you hear that? Huh, must be a deer out there. Yeah. I'm assuming you all can actually hear her out there. Carrying on. Having herself a good time in the backyard. You know, this is her place. And, you know, she is out there barking, but, well, she can't talk. Hey, Mel. You like that color blue? I appreciate that. That's just a primary blue. That was a primary blue that I used. And I'm Just mixing it with white right now. The primary blue is mixed with some black, and now I'm mixing it with some white. I still want that to retain a little bit of that blue. Right up. Yeah, scrush it out, scrub it out. There we go. Get a little bit more of that blue up there at the top, just a little. And that way it's naturally shaded. We'll get a little more right along through here. Up his arm. And right along through here, along the top of this arm. Just make that a little bit brighter. But I want to leave that blue on there because that's my natural shading. Okay, now we're going to rinse that off. Get back over here. Make sure I'm getting it into the rinse water, Janet. Rinse water, rinse water. I'm telling you. Be a sight. While that white's drying, we're going to go ahead and get some black. And we're going to work on the hat. Now, I know that's a confusing line right there because that's a mistake line, so we're going to go over that first and get it out of here. Okay, and his hat's just a big old magic hat. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, what do you mean by magic hat? It's just a snowman with a hat. Well, it's going to have all kind of fun coming out of the top of it when we get it done. All kind of fun coming out the top. Okay, just before I hit live, I was getting the paints out on my palette here. And daggone if I didn't get it all over my sweater. I had it all over my hand. I think I'm flicking it now. I got to be careful with what I'm doing here. So my sweater's got wet spots. You don't see it because I flipped it around. Ha ha. But I thought, well, I don't know what else to do right now. I got to go live. It's time to go. It's time to go. I'm just going to bring this out a little wider than what I've drawn. More like that, I'd say. Yeah, that looks a little better. All right, now I'm going to switch over to a different brush. Let me get the hair off of that. I think I can use this one. I'm going to put that in there. And I'm going to go to the orange while that hat's drying. And I'm just going to work on putting his nose in here. Fill this in with the orange. There we go. And while we're at it, I'm going to go ahead and give him a orange scarf around his neck. I'm minimizing my colors in my palette here. I'm just going to use orange for his scarf and orange for his glove and orange for the band on his hat, for his hat band. We'll shade these up here in just a moment. Just fill this in real quick. I'm going to mix just the tiniest bit of that blue. Tiny, tiny bit of that blue. Right here. And I'm going to get some of that orange with it. Just muddying up that orange till it makes a nice kind of a brownish tint. I'm just going to take that and drag it right along the back of his nose here. Let me get some of that off. That's a little much. Right underneath. Couple of lines on the front of it here. And we'll do the same right here under his chin. Make it come into there. A little bit down in there. Okay. Get a little more orange in that. The inside of his palm. The under part of his thumb. We got the little going across right here holding his mitten on. Let me wipe some of that off. That's just a little too much dark there. Let me get a little more orange. I guess it ain't going to hurt it, is it? I guess not. A little orange under his nose, a little orange there, a little darker orange right there, and then we're going to put just a little bit of that. Let me get that. Just right along the top of it here. There we go. You can kind of... Well, no, it doesn't really show the shading on there, does it? It needs to be a little darker, I think, right here. Don't want to get it too dark, but I want it to be noticeably darker. There we go. That's good enough. That's good enough. Let me rinse this off. And we're going to get some black. We're going to just dot this spot right here where I can see through the paint. When I move my canvas around, I can actually see. The light sometimes hinders my ability to see where the paint is or isn't. There we go. Okay, I'm going to turn him around towards me for just a moment here. And work on adding some coal. May have that one sticking out a little bit. There we go. Kind of round that out just a smidge. Got one right here. Right there. Right there. One more. Eek. There. Stop while you're ahead. Stop while you are ahead. Okay, so now we can see the little guy, and he's got the little hat in his hand. Hey, Carol. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. It's a little wacky looking right now. I'm working on it, though. We're going to get it. We're going to get it. Let me rinse this off. Get my little brush. And I'm going to get it wet. Where's just the plain water? I'm afraid now, you guys. Once I stuck that, almost got that into my juice. I got my juice way over here. But I keep thinking I'm going to end up sticking the brush in there now. Okay, I'm going to wet this down just a little bit. This white is just a little bit thick right here. Let it down a little bit, make it thinner. And then I'm going to bring this up. Just like that, coming out of his hat. Come on, little white lines, work with me. There we go. You know, I was thinking to myself, if it was Valentine's, you could almost make them look like little hearts coming up out of his hat. But that's getting ahead of myself. I'm thinking seasons ahead, seasons ahead. Kind of have to, though, you know. Let's get me a little more water for this. I don't want it to get too thin to where you can see too much through it, but I want it to be thin enough to just glide right off of that little brush. I did do something kind of similar to this for Valentine's Day with the smoking hot snowman. I don't know if y'all remember that. Little snowman with the pipe, and his little pipe had little heart curls coming up out of it. Okay, let's see if we can get this one. Ooh, I'm running out of paint. Got to get more paint, get more paint, get more paint. Connect. Thank you. Sometimes you have to talk to it. Connect! Please help me out here, paint. Connect together. Let's be friends. I don't know what I'm doing, guys. I'm just playing with the paint. Just over here playing around. Let's make this one go right here. Trying to not touch nothing wet. Ooh, that's too wet. I knew I was going to get too much water at some point. Maybe we can pull it into paint. Right there. So what happens when you add too much water, you start getting just like little messes. It's going to spread out. And I don't want it to do that. The magic hat. And all the magic's flying right out of it. Okay. So now I'm going to give it some fun little white lines. Always got to give your fun little white lines on stuff, you know. You better make it. Oh, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't have to be on this side or that side or the right side, because there is no right side. Any side's the right side. We're just going to drag that right across the top. Drag that right across there. Now here I got to try to drag that just like that. It kind of looks right. It kind of looks really crooked. This hat looks crooked as heck. Yeah, the hat looks kind of whacked, doesn't it? Now we'll just put a white line over here while we're at it. And we'll make a couple of lines there, and we'll make a couple of lines here. Bringing it down that way a little bit. Nah, that helps it a little bit. That helps it a little bit. Okay, and then we're gonna, of course, bring our fun white line right along the top of his little nose. Just a little bit there. couple of white lines just on his little scarf, just to kind of make things pop out just a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to get this and rinse it off. Going to shake up the gold. I hope this show's real. Oh, I think it's going to show pretty good. Just do some little oddball stars. Anywhere you want to put them. All this fun stuff coming out of the hat. All the magic. Filling the night. Let's put one right here. Pull it a little taller there. Now you see all the little stars in the sky. A hot cup of hot chocolate. Ooh, that would have been a perfect idea. Yeah. Maybe that's what I'll do next time. That's a great idea, Carol. That is a great idea. Here, let's put a... I don't know, let's decorate his hat somewhere. Let's put one right here. I'm always very leery about trying to paint little snowflakes on things. They start getting a little too big, and next thing you know, nothing's looking right. Outward and in, outward. Right up to the middle there. There, that's a kind of different looking snowflake. The snowflake's any way you want to make it, right? I don't even think you guys can see it. There it is on his hat. Just a different looking little snowflake floating around. All right. I think I'm going to sign it at the bottom and call it done. What could I have done to make his hat look more like a hat? It needs to be over more this way, I think. Let me see. I'll keep messing with it now. What if his hat was more over to here and out? Of course, that's going to mess up the orange there, but let's just see. We can maybe make that work. I don't know, his hat's kind of wonky any way you look at it. It's a wonky hat, that's for sure. But see, I can't let it go. I gotta mess with it. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I don't like the hat. I don't like that hat. So we gotta come back and mess with it. And probably make it to where you like it even less. That's what I'm known to do. Oh, that messed it up. I should have left that alone. Oh. That might have helped it a little bit. It's an old felt hat, huh? It doesn't have to be a top hat. It's some old felt hat they found. Isn't that the words? There must have been some magic. Yeah, something like that. I need to smooth this down now, though. I need that to kind of dry a little bit. Is it even noticeable? Not really. You can kind of see it, but you can't really kind of see it. You can kind of see it, but you can't really kind of see it. Whatever that means. I'm losing it, y'all. I'm losing it. That's all right. That's all right. We're not going to worry about that. Let's see. Let's stop messing with that. See if you'd smooth it better. Now you'll pick it up is what you'll do, won't you? Yeah, you'll just pick up the paint. So we'll just put it down and leave it alone. And go down here at the bottom of it and sign it. And stop messing with it. Huh. That's what we need to do to it. Ooh, and that's got too much water in it. Yikey-doo, that's got way too much water. Get a little paint to put in it. Mix in that water. Get some paint in that water, Janet. Get a little paint. There we go. There we go. All right, guys. That's all I'm going to do. I'm going to quit playing with this little fella. I think that's enough magic coming out of this hat at this point. I hope you enjoyed this. I appreciate that, Carol. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here, Carol, Mel, Steve. I appreciate you guys. I will see you again real soon. All right. Have a great night. Oh, wait a minute. It says I got a slow... There it goes. Bye-bye.